Jerry the Snake Man, and today we're going to be talking about a kind of controversial subject. It's something that I've been doing over the last probably 20 years, and that's maintenance feeding my snakes. Maintenance feeding is when I simply give a snake just enough food so it remains healthy, but it doesn't grow to a very large size. A lot of people say, oh, you're starving your snakes. I'm not starving my snakes. I'm going to show you the snakes that I've been maintenance feeding for a long time. I have a few methods of how I feed different snakes. I know some people, they power feed their snakes, which means they stuff them with as much food as possible. They'll give them huge items to try to get them as big and as fat as fast as possible. Sometimes they'll even force the food down their throat. After they've eaten one rat, they'll shove another rat down their throat. And they try to get the snake, like I said, as big as possible. Some breeders do this. It's not something that I ever do to my snakes. I never try to power feed them. A lot of my snakes I do feed sometimes a very large object because I would like them to grow a little bigger, a little quicker. But as far as that, normally I try to what I call maintenance feed my snakes. And I will show you how that's basically what I do. I'll show you the results of what I've done, and you can judge for yourself. And I don't think that any of my snakes are unhealthy or or starving. They all seem to be very, the ones that are maintenance fed, most of them seem to be very docile snakes, very content. They're not striking out with a fast food response. So just stay tuned and I'll show you what we do here. First snake I want to show you, this is a king snake, a California king snake. And this snake I've had for 7 years. And as you can see, he stayed a smaller bodied size. He is not aggressive whatsoever. Very beautiful, very active snake. This snake here has been tube fed most of its life. Every once in a while I will give it a mouse or some other kind of food, but basically he has been maintenance fed. When I do give him a mouse, I just give him one. I don't increase it. A lot of people would like to get the snake a lot fatter and a lot longer, but I'm not trying to do that. And as you can see, he's very docile and he's very active. And when people see my snakes, especially people who know snakes, they tell me comment all the time on how healthy the snakes look and how well cared for they are. He sheds perfectly every time. I don't have any issues with him. And like I said, this is what maintenance feeding does. It allows you to keep a snake at a smaller size so that you can keep him in a smaller enclosure. Most of my snakes are for my shows, so they're kept in tubs. They're not my pets. They actually are working type of snakes. But this, like I said, this is a nice small snake now. He's not going to get any bigger than this. And he's very manageable. You can put him in a 20 long tank and he would have plenty of room to move around in with no problems whatsoever. And here we're going to show you another snake that's basically been tube fed since I've had her from a baby. This is a false water cobra, which is actually a South American water snake. They're rear fanged. They flare out, but when they flare out, they stay horizontally, I think that's the word for it, where they stay more flat to the ground. They don't rise themselves up vertically like a normal cobra. But as you can see, she's about 4 years old. She's not as long as most false water cobras would be, and she's not as fat, but she is extremely healthy, extremely active. She will literally eat just about anything, though, I offer her. I mean, she's not one that's very aggressive. When I go to feed her, she moves very fast toward the food, but she stops. She makes sure that it's food before she bites at it. Again, she's been tube fed most of her life. I will feed her. I've given her chicks. I've given her mice. I've even given her raw pieces of chicken. And I only give her one item at a time, though, so she doesn't grow to a very large size. As you can see, she's very healthy and active, moving around. A lot of people, again, they condemn this. They say, oh, you're starving them. Well, I'm not starving them. She's extremely healthy. I'm using the theory that maintenance feeding is a way of keeping larger snakes to a smaller size, or keeping any snake to a smaller size, actually. If you get the dwarf retics, they're from the islands, and the mainland retics are usually a lot larger because there's a wide variety of food for these animals. But on the islands, the food is limited, so the retics stay a smaller size. So in nature, it's already a way of maintenance feeding. Maintenance feeding is nothing new to a lot of different types of pet trades. They sell turtle food for growth formula, and they sell turtle food for maintenance formula to keep a turtle to stay more at a maintenance size and to grow bigger and bigger. And the same with dog food. There's recommendations when you buy dog food on the bag of how you can allow your dog to gain more weight, or how you can have your dog stay approximately the same weight. Animals don't need to be super large. If you look at me, I'm not on a maintenance formula, I'm on the growth formula. See, I like to eat, so I grow nice and big. You know, got my nice big belly here. But if I were to eat a maintenance formula, which is what my wife tries to get me to eat, I would stay at a smaller size and be a lot more healthier. And here we're going to show you, this is my monocle cobra. And this cobra has been given one mouse of appropriate size ever since it was basically big enough to eat mice. As you can see, it stays a smaller, healthier size. Very beautiful monocle cobra. It does, very active. It's very healthy. But then we're going to move you over, and we're going to show you this monocle cobra right over here. Now, this monocle cobra has been given a lot more food. I give it 1 or 2 large rats, and this monocle cobra is like 3 times the size of the other one. I only feed it that much because it was already up to size when I acquired it, so I will continue to feed it so it stays big and healthy. But again, this is what you can get, and the other monocle cobra that I showed you earlier is one of the ones the size that you can keep, so you can maintain a smaller size, which is easier to handle. Now, if you're interested, I do sometimes have to feed my cobras, and I have to feed some of my other snakes tube feeding because of they may be sick or for whatever reason. And I do tube feed a lot of animals because it does keep them to a smaller size. And if you want to see that, you can watch the video clip that we've already made on feeding techniques. Now here's an example of one snake that I do not maintenance feed. This snake is actually fed large rats, and as you can see, he was just given one. He's got a huge rat inside him. This is my Gaboon Viper. I have 2 African Gaboon Vipers. They're one of my favorite snakes, if you'll know from my email address. African Gaboon Vipers are beautiful snakes, and I love to get them nice and big to a very large size if I possibly could. As again, I'm not a big fan of power feeding, but this guy will take a large rat with no problem, so I will give it to him so that he will develop a larger size and grow to a nice big fat healthy Gaboon Viper very quickly. I do want him a large size. He's a very impressive snake, and I love the patterns and the colors on him. They're so geometrical, and when you look at a Gaboon Viper up close, they almost look like they're velvet.